Okay, welcome to one of my team games. This is Capture the Flag. This is going to be my second version as I've had some updates to the rules based on student feedback and playing the game for a bit longer to try to make it more enjoyable, more fair and easier for me to umpire. So I usually play this game 9 versus 9 students. You could play more or less depending on the students that you have in your class. Okay, so you could play 10 versus 10, you could play 11 versus 11, you could play 12 versus 12. I probably wouldn't do more than 12 as you go, and that might dictate some of the rules that you use. Usually if there's a substitute on the side, I might get them to be timer. I usually bring my iPad, or they could do the scoreboard. I have these little mini scoreboards that they can use on the side, and it can actually really help me out and make it easier for me to umpire on the side as well. Okay, just like my previous game, there's a 5-minute time limit. So I have 5 minutes to each side. And then before the game, I get the class into 2 teams, whether that's 9 versus 9 or depending on how many kids you have. And then I select one captain. The captain has to organise positions, and you'll see my little field here is already set out positions. So I have 3 per position. And so there's 3 guarding the jail, 3 guarding the flag, and 3 going for it or being attackers at the front. So I call these guys attackers. My students call them strikers because they're obsessed with soccer, but you can call them whatever you want, doesn't matter. So that's where they have to start. When the game actually starts though, they can move wherever they'd like in their positions. The only caveat is I have a maximum of 3 for guarding the flag. So if, say, a jail person, like one of the circles comes across and this jail person comes within 5 metres, okay, they have to actually go to jail. So if they become the 4th person and they come within 5 metres, they actually have to end up going to jail. So you can't have more than 3 people guarding the flag, but especially when the game starts, I encourage these 3 jail people to come up and help the attackers because there's no one in the jail, so they don't have to defend it. Now, to go out in this game, there's a few different ways. You can, like I discussed before, if you're the 4th person that comes to the flag zone, and you're within 5 metres, you have to go to jail. Another reason you can go to jail is if you go out of bounds. So if you're guarding the flag and go in the flag zone, or if you're guarding the jail and go in the jail, or if you go outside the sideline, I have a tree line that guards this. You could use it with cones to have it. I don't have any baseline where they can't go too far this way, but depending on your school boundaries, you might have a boundary that side as well, but if they go out of bounds, they have to go to jail. Okay, so to free someone from jail, so say they have an X person in jail, one of these people have to run and get across and not get tagged. If they get tagged, they obviously go to jail. Once they get in, they can free this person. Once they go out, though, they can't go back into the jail, and if they do, they go to jail, or if they get tagged. Now, they're not free. Kids have this obsession when they get freed from jail, they're free forever. It's not the case. So when they come out, they can get re-tagged and go back in. So their options are to run and try to get in the flag zone or run back to safety on their side. Now, if you get into the flag zone, okay, I make it that you get 1 point. So say an X person gets in, they get 1 point for their team. Okay, you get 1 point per person. Now, if that person happens to go outside the flag zone, gets tagged, and they have to go back to jail and get back in, they don't get a 2nd point. It's 1 per person, or I might say per different person. And this was to help me stop having draws. Okay, so we've still got that 5-minute time limit, but to avoid draws, also on my scoreboard, I update this, I put 1 point each time one student gets into the flag zone for their team. okay? Then, when you're in the flag zone, we actually don't have a flag. I use a soft ball. So it's like a little small dodgeball. You can use another ball, like a tennis ball, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Now, the reason we did this was to make it a bit easier for you to score. So the reason to do this, so you can have your 3 guarding, and this person might be in the flag zone. But if another attacker comes up and they throw it over the top, this person can catch and run back to the other side. If, however, the ball touches the ground, whether that was a bad throw, whether the person just dropped it or whatever happens, whoever threw it has to go to jail. Okay, so the thrower of the ball has to go to jail. Now, if this person dropped it, okay, this person came up and they dropped the ball, they're not in jail, but they must pass the ball back and the ball goes back into the flag zone. They can't just pick it up and run it back to the other side, okay? And obviously, if this person gets tagged, they also have to go to jail. So that's the way to get it across. Now, as well, say you're running with the ball and you get this far and then a defender comes up and you're like, oh no, and you try to throw it over the line, you have to go to jail as well. You can't throw the ball over the midline. You can only throw it on your defensive side. So if you're trying to get the flag and run it to the other side, and you can throw it here, but you can't throw it over the line. If you do, you go to jail. Now, as well, after someone makes it, so say someone makes it across and they win the game. We'll switch sides. We start that 5-minute time limit, okay? The captains will organise their positions and you swap. So we swap ends and we also swap teams. So whatever you were in that game, you have to be something different. So you might have a couple of people on the bench. The bench people get to choose what position they are, and then the captain will work out the rest, and then there'll be 2 people, or whatever the number is, that have to sit off in that game. And that will become the new game for next time, and they'll switch ends and the flag will go back depending on whether you got it or not. Now, if there's the same amount of people, say the circle's got 1 person in the flag and the X has got 1 and it was a tie, it'd be 1-0. But say the X's had 2, they would win that game, okay, because they had more people in the zone. So as well, with that 5-minute time limit, I like to say 4 minutes to go, 3, 2, 1, and then when there's 10 seconds, we'll count out 10, 9, and the people on the side could help you with this, 7, 6, so they know the time. So that way, if the circles know this and they know the score, they might have to take some risks to get across in the last minute or so. I encourage students to, if their team's behind, to take those risks in the last minute, because if you're going to lose anyway, you may as well have a crack and see if you can at least tie the score or possibly get the flag. Now, but if there's 2 X's in here, but this circle person gets all the way over, their 2 points don't matter because he or she got over the line, and that person wins the game and they switch. Okay, so there's a scoreboard for how many people you get in the flag zones, but there's another scoreboard for how many flags you actually retrieve or how many games you win. You might win a game by having the most amount of people if there's no result at the end. I'll attach a link to the rules to this game. I've got the rules to this game as well. And if you've got a different way of playing it as well, or if you've got any comments or questions about it, you can. I hope you enjoy my game of Capture the Flag.